You are welcome to another episode of your flagship program, Telecom Weekly. I am Oluwatobi Enito. The program, sponsored by the telecom regulator, the Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC, is aimed at educating, informing and updating you with the latest trends, issues, news and developments in the telecom and ICT sectors, particularly in Nigeria. Ensuring the satisfaction of telecom consumers is our priority at NCC. Once again, welcome. Coming up in this episode, NCC reiterates bridging the digital divide. How the telecom regulator is tackling the effects of non-type approved mobile devices towards ensuring quality of service. Also in this edition, NCC hosts campus conversation at the University of Ibadan. As you can see, we have very interesting stories for your delight this week as always. Please stay with us.
On NCC Telecom Weekly, we bring you innovations, trends, policies and stakeholders, redefining all sectors of our economy today. Here, you'll see the actors, policymakers and creativity that will shape your mind and business for growth in line with today's reality. Join us every Friday, 5 p.m. on NTN Network and on radio, FRCN Network on Fridays, 8 p.m. NCC, Connecting Nigeria.
The mandates of the telecom regulator NCC is the development and monitoring of performance standards and indices relating to quality of communications services to ensure that telecom consumers always have satisfactory quality of experience. This was reiterated by the chairman, NCC board, Professor Adeolu Akonde, at the NCC campus conversation held at the University of Ibadan.
The Nigerian Communications Commission (NCC) has reiterated its resolve to ensure improved quality of experience for consumers of telecom products and services in the country. Professor Adeolu Akonde, Chairman, NCC Board of Commissioners, gave the assurance at the 5th edition of the NCC Campus Conversation held at the University of Ibadan, Oyo State. Represented by Mrs. Afure Iloka, Special Assistant to the Executive Vice Chairman, NCC, Professor Akonde noted that the Commission places a high premium on telecom consumers.
The telecom consumer conversations have become very important for board and management of NCC in implementing mandates of the Commission as enshrined in the Nigerian Communications Act 2003. One of the mandates is the protection of the rights and interests of consumers. This can only be achieved when consumers are well informed and educated on their rights and obligations as telecom consumers. This is also in tandem with the Strategic Management Plan 2020 to 2024 of the Executive Vice Chairman, Professor Umar Garba Dambata, which is to improve quality of experience and stakeholder satisfaction.
The Chairman, NCC Board of Commissioners, added that the campus conversation was in tandem with the Strategic Management Plan SMP 2020 to 2024 of Professor Umar Garuba Dambata, the Executive Vice Chairman of NCC, to improve the quality of experience.
We are now building our lives around wired and wireless networks, most of which require internet data. The difficulty with this ever-growing multitude of resources is how to effectively sort through the vast amount of information available on the internet. The Commission is inundated with frequent complaints from the telecom consumers on the depletion of their internet data, which is why the NCC, through the Consumer Affairs Bureau, has embarked on this sensitization exercise to educate telecom consumers on the various ways to manage internet data.
Mr. Ayabanji Ojo, Head, Consumer Affairs Bureau, NCC, revealed that high rate of data depletion is mostly experienced when consumers turn on automatic updates of apps, videos and pictures to the cloud on smartphones. He added that faster download speeds that come with 5G and 4G coverage could also result in high rates of data depletion compared with 3G and 2G mobile networks.
Well, the role of NCC, like I've said and we have always been saying, is that our duty is to keep on informing our consumers, educate them so that they will know what they are into. You see, we are dealing with a sophisticated technology, which is the telephone and ICT. If you don't inform your consumers, remember, consumers are the king. Without the consumers, you don't have NCC, you don't have the telecom industry. So ours is to continuously inform, protect, and educate our consumers every time on all facets of telecom industry.
In his remarks, Mr. Babagana Digima, team lead, Nigeria Office for Developing Indigenous Telecom Sector, NORDIT, reminded the students that, being youths, they remain the country's greatest asset within the telecom ecosystem in the country. He further noted that the involvement of youth in innovating indigenous solutions for the telecommunications sector is one sure way to bring fresh perspectives and new ideas.
Well, the presentation here looks at all the effort that the NCC is making towards making sure that youths are participating in indigenous telecommunications sector. So we presented all the support that we have given the youths, we have given Nigerians, and some of the achievements that we have done. Mostly youths that come together to develop an idea, and one of them came up with the idea to resell your excess data capacity, and they went on to establish a company called YCrypt, who we've also sponsored for another event to go and showcase that product that they have, and they won $150,000. So this is one area. In fact, it's two areas. First, we have the hackathon, then we have the support that we gave them to an international event that enabled them.
The NCC has maintained its commitment to protecting telecom consumers. This is evident in the Campus Conversation Initiative, which is geared towards educating students on the various consumer-centric programs of the Commission to protect them from unfair practices by service providers.
In the same vein, the influx into the country of non-type approved devices which hinder quality of service has continued to be a source of concern to the telecom regulator. Towards this end, NCC says it will not rest on its hours until the trend is minimized, as highlighted in our next story.
Professor Umaru Garuba Dambata, Executive Vice Chairman, Nigerian Communications Commission (NCC), once described type approval as an administrative procedure of technical test and vetting applied to items of telecoms equipment before they can be sold, connected to the public network, or used for the purpose of communication. Telecom consumers buy mobile devices based on availability and to the extent that the device served the purpose for which they were bought. Some consumers do not worry about the impact that these mobile devices could have on the quality of service if they turn out to be non-type approved. Checks by Telecom Weekly reveal that non-type approved telecom products come with several negative effects. In addition to affecting the user's quality of experience, other effects include exposure to cybersecurity threats, breach of digital privacy, and negative reputation to original trademarks. How can one determine or possibly avoid the use of non-type approved communication devices? Telecom Weekly went to town to find out from a cross-section of phone users what they know about non-type approved mobile devices.
When I bought this phone, Samsung, I had to first of all check about the phone, knows the legal information about it, like the IMEI slot, both 1 and 2. So these are the things you need to check about before getting a phone, or to know which phone is approved by NCC.
I normally go to the settings first. So from the settings, I will look for all these the providers, the offices, the gig, the RAM, all those things. We learn that from all these phone sellers. That's how I know maybe my thing is original or not.
First of all, you first check the settings. Then you can go through the web. You can go through NCC website and check whether the phone is approved or not.
There is what we call how to check IME of phones.
So I use those codes to check maybe the phone I'm about to buy is original or refurbished.
The NCC has remained steadfast in its resolve to eliminate the sale of non-type approved devices in the country. This is consistent with the Commission's mandate of establishing and enforcing standards and improving the quality of telecom service, as it has consistently maintained that using non-type approved handsets and other devices impacts negatively on the quality of services.
Type approval is a process of equipment certification. All telecommunications equipment and devices, either they are handheld devices like phones, tablets, or major equipments like base stations, core network equipment, switches and others that have radio interface have to be type approved and certified by the Commission before they are even imported into the country and also connected into the national telecommunication network.
The Commission ensures that every telecom device in the market is type approved. To take advantage of the equipment type approved process, the Commission has always advised telecom consumers to check its website for the list of type approved devices and models from which they can make their choices of mobile phones to buy.
That process entails us looking at and also testing the radio conformance performance, the what we call electromagnetic compatibility, the equipment, health and safety issues, as well as in handheld devices, we also have what we call specific absorption rate. These are all technical, issues that we need to examine, test, and certify that they are working according to the international standard.
How are telephone users taking advantage of the NCC's website as a means of knowing what devices are approved by the Commission?
There is websites provided by NCC where you can check verified phones that have been verified by NCC. So before I embark on using Apple phones, I checked on NCC website and I saw it being published there that their iPhones and Samsung phones, including Tecnos and iTels, were being verified by NCC. So I just choose the one that is affordable for me. So I go for Apple phones and Samsung phones.
The NCC is empowered by the Nigerian Communications Act 2003 to establish and enforce standards for all telecom equipment in operation in the Federal Republic of Nigeria to ensure that they operate seamlessly and safely within the Nigerian telecommunications environment. This explains why the Commission carries out type approval tests on communication equipment and issues certificates based on the technical specification and standards prescribed by the Commission. Thus, all equipment manufacturers, vendors and operators, including customer devices such as mobile phones and wireless adapters, must ensure that the equipment conform to the applicable standards as mandated by the telecom regulatory body before bringing them into the country. In response to public concerns about proliferation of non-type approved handsets and other terminal equipment in the Nigerian market, the Commission regularly organizes workshops sensitizing telecom consumers, particularly mobile phone users, on the harmful effects of non-type approved handsets and the negative impacts they have on quality of service. Also, the Commission, in collaboration with the Office of National Security Advisor and other key government agencies, have been working closely to combat the recurrent circle of fraudsters deploying the trade via fake and substandard mobile devices.
We are looking at the safety of the user so that phone you are using does not transmit beyond what is supposed to transmit that will cause some kind of health issue to the human being. Secondly, also, we type approve because if those equipments are not functioning the way they're supposed to, they also introduce problem to the network itself. So you can have quality of service issues.
Telecom Weekly spoke to some dealers in mobile devices to get their views on the need to stock only NCC's approved mobile devices.
It causes a lot of issues for us in the first instance. If it doesn't go through the due process and is not approved, you see that they usually doesn't have service centers after sales service. And when issues comes up, you start looking for their parts to fix them. That's how you know that actually this product is not really registered. But for the multinationals that have registered brands in the market, their service centers are all available. So when you have issues, you can easily go to them and get your devices fixed.
The chip of the original phones or computers, or even beneath all these jam box, all these music boxes, the chips inside, you cannot compare the chips inside of it to that of the original. It will never give you what you want. The networks are not always strong. Sometimes you can stay an hour without network in your phone, whereas the problem is from the phone.
The security won't be that strong, like it will be breached, and it won't be secured by any use of like making use of the cyber activities and everything. All those things, they won't be secured, because if the phone is approved, all those things will be like encrypted. So any phone that is not approved is not advisable for anybody that is into tech or any tech lover to use.
The Commission had on several occasions enlightened dealers in telephone handsets and accessories for better collaboration and support, particularly in providing vital information that would assist in tracking down nefarious activities of dubious dealers in the industry. Officials of the Commission have carried out enforcement at different times to rid the telecom sector of non-type approved devices.
Be a part of this program by joining us via multiple social media platforms. For inquiries on this program, you can send a mail to telecomweekly@ncc.gov.ng. For further details about the activities of the Commission, visit www.ncc.gov.ng. NCC MSMAN bags another prestigious award. Details when we return from the break. Please don't go away.
Are you tired of having to memorize numerous codes to recharge your line or activate a service on the different networks you use? Well, here is some great news. The Nigerian Communications Commission (NCC) has harmonized all short codes in the country. This means that you can use the same 3-digit number to contact your network provider's call center and so much more. The new short codes are Call Center and Help Desk 300, Voicemail Deposit 301, Voicemail Retrieval 302, Borrow Services 303, Stop Services 305, Check Balance 310, Credit Recharge 311, Data Plan 312, Share Services 321, Data Plan Balance 323, Verification of SIM Registration and NIN SIM Linkage 996, DND Do Not Disturb 2442, Porting Services MNP 3232. Old and new common codes will run concurrently until May 17, 2023, when old codes will cease to operate. Users can now obtain services on all networks using the same short codes. For further information, visit www.ncc.gov.ng. NCC, Connecting Nigeria.
The Champion newspaper has awarded the Executive Vice Chairman of NCC, Professor Umar Garba Dambata, as the Most Outstanding Regulator 2022. The ceremony was held at the nation's Commercial Nerve Center, Lagos.
The top-rating regulatory excellence of the Nigerian Communications Commission (NCC) has been reaffirmed as Professor Umar Garba Dambata, the Commission's Executive Vice Chairman, is decorated with the award of Most Outstanding Regulator of 2022. The prestigious award was conferred on the NCC's Healthman at the Champion Newspaper's annual awards in Lagos in recognition of his regulatory ingenuity that has resulted in increased broadband penetration. The event organizer and group managing director and editor-in-chief of Champion Newspapers Limited, Dr. Nwadu To Ehekanwa, said Professor Dambata was most deserving of the honor for strengthening the telecom sector as a major contributor to the country's gross domestic product and boosting telecom's investment from $36 billion to over $70 billion as of 2015.
I really welcome you all, respected awardees. Please sit back and relax and enjoy this award ceremony. And congratulations to everyone who has made impact in the society to deserve this award.
In an interview with journalists after receiving the award, the NCC boss assured that the Commission will continue working with stakeholders to ensure that Nigerians enjoy quality telecommunications services.
I dedicate this award to the board and entire management of the Nigerian Communications Commission. I appreciate the support I've enjoyed from the management and board of the NCC over this past couple of years. I cherish this support, and I look forward to working with the board as well as the management staff of the Commission in order to raise the bar further in the way and manner we have progressively been regulating the industry in a manner that is predictable, and that has resulted in the stability of the industry, the vibrancy of the industry. We couldn't have achieved all this without this level of cooperation that we have been receiving. I would like to acknowledge this once more and pass on the message to the general public that the EVC couldn't have done it by himself alone. You know, it is a collective effort, you know, by the two levels of cooperation that we have received, and we will continue together to forge ahead in order to ensure the citizens of this country enjoy qualitative as well as efficient telecommunication services.
Professor Dambata dedicated the award to the board, management and staff of the Commission for their commitment towards achieving the organization's mandate.
We identify with the agenda of the World Information Society in order to ensure that no part of this country is left without telecommunication services. We are going to ensure we put more effort in bridging access gaps, you know, within the clusters we have identified and for which we have the map, in order to guarantee services to people in rural, unserved and underserved, you know, parts of the country. This is an undertaking that I would like to give, that we are going to see a more robust approach to bridging the clusters of access gaps, you know, going forward.
Other awardees at the event included retired Brigadier General Mohammed Buba Marwa, Chairman, National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu and his Osun State counterpart, Ademola Adeleke, among several other dignitaries.
And as we say in this part of the world, more grease to your elbow for this well-deserved honor. Once again, we say congratulations. Well, it is on this note we want to call it a day on this week's episode of Telecom Weekly. Before we go, don't forget you can always be a part of this program by joining us via our multiple social media platforms. For inquiries on this program, you can send a mail to telecomweekly@ncc.gov.ng. For further details on the activities of the Commission, visit www.ncc.gov.ng. Telecom Weekly is brought to you by the Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC. Until we come your way again next week, I am Oluwatobi Enito, saying bye for now.